everybody! Today we are going to be launching a new series where we're going to be highlighting and showcasing part of our vintage costume collection. One of our goals at Carmine and Hayworth Vintage is to preserve the past and the history behind each garment, and this beautiful 1950s gown is no exception. The really cool part about it is we know who wore this gown, we know who owned it, and we do know a little bit about who she was as a person. Now this gown was owned by a woman named Sandra Cordell, and Sandra was a singer and stage performer in the early to mid 50s. Now we don't know too much about her, but what I was able to dig up is definitely amazing. She used to be an understudy for the original Broadway stage production of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and she was the understudy to Carol Channing. Now, in the mid-50s, her career started to wane a little bit, so she ended up picking up performances on cruise ships. And there, she was well known for spending exorbitant amount of money on the orchestra, her costumes, and her overall stage presence. Now, one of Sandra's co-performers had a lot of interesting things to say about her. Now, in 1951, once the original stage production of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes closed, Sandra Cordell boarded a cruise ship for her next big gig. And this was a cruise ship where she would have 3 performances, and they would travel from New York City all the way along the coast, ending in Los Angeles. Now, one of her co-performers was named Loy Van Natter, and in his biography, he said that when he first met Sandra, she was very much a Doris Day type, and he talked about how much money she spent on her stage performance. Now, Van Natter, when he first heard her sing, he was quoted as saying that it was not the first-rate sound that one would expect from a female's throat. So he was not too impressed by her singing, but luckily she had the stage presence to make up for it. Another tidbit that Van Natter had talked about in his biography was that the first time he ever heard about Sandra Cordell was in a Daily Mail news article in the 40s about some sordid sex scandal that she was a part of. Now, I tried to go down the rabbit hole finding out what this scandal was, but I ended up in some places I didn't want to be, so I wasn't able to find out too much about that. But it was really interesting that even these little pieces I was able to find out about her really kind of paint a picture of someone who was really trying hard to get her stage presence known and to boost her star. Now, instead of the normal headshots actors and stage performers would get at the time, Sandra commissioned a portrait to be taken of her in this dress in a kind of saucy and sexy way, and I'll be including a photo of that in the video as well. But the cool thing about this is you can tell every rhinestone was hand-stitched. She has a detachable cape right along the back, all made of black and red satin, and this would be used as a train to fall behind, or she could even use it as a wrap or a little shawl. You can see how intricate all of these rhinestones are sewn in. You have this sheer panel of chiffon that shows off a little bit of the leg, but even the rhinestone bow and all of the draping and the seams and the darting, this really, in its peak, was a beautiful, beautiful gown, and it still is. But 2 things that it's missing are the rhinestone straps that would have fit right here. Those have gone missing, and I'm hoping one day to get those fully restored. But when I purchased this piece, it had gone through a preservation process where you get a certificate telling you that it was properly pressed, steamed, and taken care of, and it has its own box to ensure that it always stays in peak condition. So thank you guys so much for following us and watching this video of our first costume collection piece. If you want to see more videos like this, just comment below and stay tuned because we'll be showing off some more amazing pieces from our collection. Thanks, you guys.